Ready, April?
Yes.
Let's call this June 9th, 2026, Essex County Board of Supervisors work session to order. April, your roll call, please.
Chairman Akers.
Present.
Vice Chairman Gill.
Present virtually.
Supervisor Hale.
Present.
Supervisor Henry.
Here.
Supervisor Magruder.
Here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I don't think, we don't take any action, so we don't need to make an approval for the work session, do we? Just for a regular meeting? I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. We'll give you a backdated copy.
Did you get that, Chris, for the paper? That was Chairman Robert L. Akers, Jr.,
Just saying.
Greater Tappahannock District.
Too soon? Too soon. I got it. Too soon. All right, first on our agenda is the deed alert. Christina?
You want me to follow up that? Okay, good evening. I was asked just to come and give y'all some information on the Virginia deed alert system that we've started offering in the courthouse. This is a system that was created by the Virginia Supreme Court. It was offered to all clerk's offices that use the Supreme Court system. I don't know if all clerk's offices opted into it, so if you do have property in other jurisdictions, you have to call them prior to. When you register with our Virginia deed alert system, it's only for your Essex County land records. It doesn't show any other records that you own in other counties. This program did come at no cost to the county citizens and to the county. This program will allow citizens to receive an electronic notification whenever a document is recorded in my office with land records that matches the name that you register. If you spell your name wrong when you register, you're not going to get a notification. We have had that happen already. So just make sure when you put your notification in that you spell your first name right and your last name right. You can register by using this flyer. We've seen some in Penny's office. We have some. There's some floating around the town. There's a little QR code. Not everybody has a cell phone, so you can't always scan the QR code. We did get a link to put on our county website that you can also go to register. You can use the same email address and register up to 5 names under the same email address. Just a reminder that this program does not prevent documents from being recorded in my office or validate the legality of the filing. It only serves an additional layer of awareness by enabling property owners to review activity related to their property. Once the document is recorded, if you get a notification, it will give you the name that's been recorded, the type of document, the date it was recorded, and the instrument number. We now have all of our land records online, so if you call our office, we can just email you a copy of it. You don't have to come in and pick up a copy. If you find that this document is fraud, you need to contact an attorney as soon as possible because we cannot unrecord it. It stays in the land record system. So an attorney will need to tell you like what you need to do to fix that property that's been illegally recorded. We have had 3 citizens in the last couple weeks call us. They got notification. They were very thankful. They got copies. All of it was fine. It was something they did through the bank. The bank recorded it. You know, it all worked out. So we have had people use it. There are people signed up for it. It is something that we're offering. So that's what we wanted to let y'all know.
Board members, any questions for Christina?
Yeah.
Just a quick comment. I told Christina that how cool it is, the fact that Essex, the Circuit Court has done a great job, their office done a great job of recording everything, so it's online and available.
It is all
Past
online.
deeds.
Yep.
That is absolutely fantastic for the citizens of this
Thank you.
county to
Thank
be
you.
able to access this now by computers.
Yes, and then now when you bring your plats in, the plat will be scanned in at the same time. So there's a plat, we still kept the books because people do still like to come in and do the books, but it is all online to where you can look at the plats online. It's not online to the public. You do have to subscribe to the Supreme Court system, but we do have a lot of people that do that.
Or
So
you
it
can
is
or you
all
can come
there.
into your office
Or you can
and
come into the
look it
office
up right on the
like
computer,
John and just
which
look
is
at it on
awesome.
the computer. Yes.
Beautiful.
But we do have flyers. If anybody needs some, wants some, let us know. If you need help doing it, you can come to the office and do it. We've had people do that, but you have to have access to your email address because it'll send you a one-time code, and you have to be able to check that one-time code for us to put the names in for you. So we have had people come in and want us to do it for them. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Any more questions?
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Christina. All right, next we have the permit fee schedule. Lauren?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just had a couple comments to say on it. Building and zoning staff, we started discussing probably at the end of 2025 about our fees, probably need some updated, probably need to add some more. Ryan, our building official, he started researching beginning of the year, comparing to our surrounding localities. And with that research, we found out that we're pretty much one of the lowest in the area. So we did make a staff recommendation. So each one of us, we put down what we suggest that the fee should be and what we need to add, compared it between the four of us, took it to the planning commission. They made their own recommendation as well. So we put both on a column for each one so you guys could compare and see what each of our recommendations were. So, if you guys have any questions about it, I can answer any.
And these still are, yes, talking to our county administrator, a lot of these are lower than the actual cost to facilitate some of these, but also still very equitable with surrounding counties, and in some cases probably even a little bit lower. So I don't see any reason that we wouldn't want to adopt these new rates that the staff is recommending. I know the planning commission made a small modest increase, but I feel more inclined to have us adopt these rates per the staff's recommendation on that. It's still not expensive by any means for any of these things, so. Any questions? for
I
them?
would echo your same comment that we're just trying to recover our cost. And this doesn't even still cover that, even the staff recommendation. And folks, we have to keep up with our costs. There's just no other way around it. So I agree with you, Chairman Akers, about the staff recommendation.
And that is something we'll do each year, is review them and have you review the charges
Yes.
and the fees and add any new ones that come up from requests from citizens and make sure that we're getting closer to what the median is in the
Yes.
area.
Board members, any other questions for Lauren regarding this? Ronnie, chime in if you have anything as well. All right, well, hearing no others.
I'm
we'll
good,
move-
thank you.
Thanks, Ronnie. We'll move on to the rezoning request, A2 to I1, and this is for Tappahannock Chevrolet, or that property.
Yes. So this is a rezoning request, Tappahannock Chevrolet. So it's for tax map 36140, 140A. That consists of 114.2 acres and 2.46. It is currently a car dealership. The request for the rezoning came about because they're looking to expand their business. So they want to do more of a commercial side, get a larger building, be able to sell those vehicles and service those kind of vehicles. Right now, it is A2, so it is considered a prior non-conforming use. So they can continue with their dealership as now with no zoning issues, but any expansion will require the rezoning. And it would have to be to a district that allows those uses. There are no proffers submitted by the applicant at this time. We've had no protests to date for or against the project. The request was heard by Planning Commission last month. They recommended for approval with no conditions. So,
Do you know, Lauren, how long that's been a dealership?
actually, I can tell you that. Give me 1 second.
I mean, a long time.
I want to say, well, in his narrative, he said, I think he's owned it about 15 years. But I think it was long before that.
Yeah, well, it was,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah.
It's been that
for
way a
while,
long
yes.
time since I can remember, so.
Right. That sounds about right, yeah. I just know with his ownership, it's been about 15 years, so.
Do we have this on the agenda for tonight?
No, this will come up next month for public hearing and adoption.
So, board members, any questions on that?
Lauren, by rezoning it to the I, then right now they're requesting to expand an existing business, we understand that. But if it goes to the I zoning designation, then that opens it up to, in the future, becoming whatever we already currently permit in the I district. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So, and they have not proffered anything that this can only be used for, you know, their dealership or a car dealership.
No,
So-
yeah, they have not submitted
so-
any proffers,
It-
yeah.
Would B1 allow for the car dealership still, or does this have to go to industrial?
Industrial. I'm not sure that off the top of my head, but I can look into that.
Yeah, if you just let us know by our next meeting, just
Sure.
if there's other zoning that may be, to John's point, maybe a little more restrictive, that may kind of keep it to that instead of,
Okay.
I know I kind of opens up the threshold for a lot of different things, so.
It does, and as long as you understand that, you know, that means they could put in
Right,
solar, they could put in data centers, they could put, which I'm not saying we are for or against, but
Right.
if we want to have a little better oversight or whatever. Now, a lot of this land, folks, other than that old field behind there, a lot of that land falls off kind of the face of the earth. It's steep, so
Yeah.
I don't know how much, you know, the potential for development is either in that in future, but, anyway, they've been there, since about 2000. It's been about 25 years, so, anyway, just a concern that we just, you know,
Yeah.
to Rob's point, you know,
yeah, we can
B
definitely
is the
look into
better
that.
designation than I, that might be something to consider or look at.
And maybe what we could include in our packet for our July meeting is what the by right uses are for industrial, just so we have it right in
Sure,
front of us.
we can definitely do that.
Yeah, if it's just expanding the dealership, they probably wouldn't need to go any further than the flat ground that's already there, but you're right. there's a-
And we understand that, but
Right.
you don't know what you don't know in the future, because if it's an I, then once it's rezoned, that's the zoning for it, and
It can,
you can do other things, and, so the other question is, does that fall into, our, comprehensive plan that's an I district?
right. I do know, right now,
Is that the future plan for that area?
yeah, so, right, because it is in the deferred development district,
Right,
that is one of the land use, so that is something
but is it
else.
a preferred for business,
Right.
not industrial?
Right.
That's what I was just trying to
Check into
figure
that.
out, check out to. If you
Yep.
can find that out as well, it'd be helpful.
We can do that.
Board members, any other questions for Lauren on that? Hearing none, smart scale resolution.
Just stay right up
Chuck.
here.
We'll just keep you up here.
See it now.
Okay. So the smart scale resolution, this is something that is required for our full application, which will open August 3rd. We do only have the 2 county projects on at this time. We didn't get anything definite from the town as far as if they want to move forward with the road diet or not, so we want to, oh, sorry. So we want to move forward with our projects. So we have Route 360 in Kino Road, and then Route 360 in Dunbrook Road and Howerton Road.
Now, if the town doesn't submit anything, are we still able to utilize that third for the third project? Are we able to accommodate that, or is? I know one's designated for the town if they
Yeah.
apply for it, but if they don't, are we able to do
They
it?
could pass on the slot. The issue would be the timing of it at this point. The applications are due by August 1st. And so they have a project that's been signed off by the town. They've only just pulled it back after the last presentation to review it by council again. So it's really the timing that we would miss out on the slot, but
Since,
they still have an opportunity to work through the issues and get it over and to us where you can adopt an additional resolution next month to capture that project, but we just don't know.
since this has to go through the county for this,
That's right.
can we set a timeline for, that's prior to the deadline date for them to submit it or forfeit it?
I mean, I guess you could, but at this point, you're not going to get the work done and submitted and through VDOT to
Right.
make the deadlines.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
But that's why we broke it in half of, let's go ahead and move forward with the county project so they're ready to pull the trigger. We're not going to lose the entire application because the town is caught up on the road diet discussion.
Board members, any questions?
Agreed. Good points.
All right,
All right,
we're done.
thank you.
See how painless that was? It was too easy. Yeah. We'll come up with something a little harder next time. All right. Energy efficiency and modernization project.
Speaking of efficiency, thank you for having me up here, gentlemen. Unlike last month, I am going to present a little today. If the visual lets me. Through HDMI. Wonderful. Good evening, Chair Akers, members of the
Evening.
board, County Administrator April. Thank you for having me back here today to present the final results and final financials for the capital improvement program and your modernization efficiency project that we have for Essex County. Ultimately, we are at the stage of looking for approval to move forward with project and final design and construction that will help address your critical needs for your infrastructure, improve your public safety, and deliver guaranteed savings to the county. Tonight, I will quickly talk through the milestones of the project, your final project overview, and the financials for it, as well as go over the next steps and action items for us. What we have done over the past several months is work through a structured, transparent process with both the county administration and your facilities team. We spent months scoping and planning to define the goals and assess all of your facilities. We've developed your project through a completed investment grade audit and identified those needs and solutions through your key facilities. And our next step is following approval of the final design and engineering, construction and installation, along with long-term verification. What this will do for your project and for your county buildings is address those many buildings and the systems that are at and beyond their useful life. Those delays will increase your emergency repairs and unplanned use and unplanned service tickets and spending. And these aging systems that continue to pose risks to your court operations, your staff, and to the public. By acting on this project and moving now, the county can move from a reactive spending plan to a strategic investment. What's included in your project scope are HVAC modernization, where we're replacing outdated boilers and AC systems, electrical upgrades with LED lighting upgrades and panel replacements and fire alarms being upgraded, building envelope improvements where we are doing the door sealing, window sealing, and efficiency enhancements for you, along with security upgrades where controlled access, secure entries, and safety improvements are being made. All of these upgrades will improve the reliability, the comfort, and the safety, operational efficiency throughout all of your county facilities. Speaking financially, the total project investment is $3.5 million, rounding up. That will cover all the design, the engineering, the construction, the commissioning, and the training costs included in your project. The guaranteed savings over 20 years is $1.15 million. That leads to a net cost of $2.35 million. In addition to the financial overview, the avoided maintenance cost further will improve the financial structure for you. Equipment reliability will reduce your emergency spending, and most importantly, these savings are guaranteed. By using this energy savings performance program, you will have partially funded, the project will be partially funded through the energy and operational savings. And a reminder again that your price are fixed, firm fixed through the single accountability of us. We have identified in addition grants, additional incentives, and rebates that will further reduce your costs. I have offered and will continue to assist your teams in applying for any applicable grants for you. And our intention is that this allows the county to complete any needed upgrades without increasing your operating budgets. I included in this the savings each year just so you can see how that 1.15 comes together at the 20-year mark, so that you can see each year what you will be guaranteed in energy savings over the course of the 20. This is also included in your contract agreement stack that was sent last week. Many project benefits, including the financial savings that we're talking about, what the county will gain in near-term benefits include having construction completed in 2026, replacement of your failing systems all within 12 months, immediate improvements to comfort and reliability across your key community buildings. Long-term advantages include predictable energy and operational costs and savings, as I mentioned, reduced energy emergency repairs, extended life of your county facilities. Community impact will include safer courts and public buildings, better service delivery, and demonstrated fiscal responsibility on behalf of the county. What McClure will bring to your table is a single point of accountability, guaranteed savings backed by the contract you have, firm fixed pricing, a design-build approach for faster delivery, and again, significant use of local resources, upwards of 88%. With this, we are really not delivering just a project. This is part of a long-term capital improvement partnership that we want to have with Essex County. Upon project approval, our next step is that same month, we can go into final design and pre-construction. We expect about a 5 to 6 month construction window for you. And from that point on, you have ongoing measurement and verification of savings year over year. In closing, Essex County, what we hope to do is address your key critical infrastructure needs now rather than waiting and later, and do so in a way that is extremely financially responsible and deliver that with guaranteed measurable results for your community. And on behalf of McClure, myself, and Mike, who came with me, we respect and request your approval of moving forward, and so we can begin the implementation of a very exciting project. And I'll open the floor to any questions that you might have for us.
I know Supervisor Magruder asked the question at one of our previous meetings that the lighting, the ceiling, that all has a guaranteed life expectancy beyond the cost savings, the 20 years that we put in. What happens if something, I'll just take for example, a light goes out? What happens with that when that happens? Is that a call to you all or to the contractor that puts it in? What's our mechanism for that?
It would depend when the light itself actually goes out. Lighting comes as standard with a 5-year, normally a limited burnout warranty to it. So in those first 5 years, that's covered under warranty by the manufacturer. We would just assist you in getting that stock replaced and then getting put back in. Other items, typically the warranty that comes with the project is a full 1-year parts and labor, we'll call it, installation, construction warranty that we provide as part of it. But as Christy said, at the end of the day, we're trying to be your partner long-term. If you have issues, reach out to us. We're in the area. Normally, we'll try and stop by and help as best we can.
And what's the caveat? Just take air conditioning systems, the boilers, it goes out after the general maintenance warranty wears out. If the county doesn't decide to install with something similar, how does that work, or does that void our agreement for the cost savings guarantee?
At the end of the day, the county owns everything that we're putting in. Our goal is, or what we like to see, is that you continue to maintain at manufacturer recommendations. As long as you're maintaining manufacturer recommendations, it does not affect the guarantee at all. Really, we're making permanent asset changes to the facility. So even if, say something happens to a boiler when it gets fixed and back up and running, you're still going to see those same savings that were guaranteed up front. The boiler is not magically going to go from, say, 90% efficient down to 70% efficient. If something does happen, normally service and maintenance on that will bring that back up to where it's supposed to be, and you'll continue to see the savings throughout the life of the contract.
Board members, questions? Joe?
So basically, the equipment belongs to us, so if something happens to it after the period that it says in this contract, we gotta go outside and it's up to us to get it replaced, right? So do we have to, I think you might have asked it a little bit, but I'm trying to understand, Does it have to be that same company that put it in?
No, I mean, at that point in time, so one of the things as part of this is you are welcome to contract with whoever you like for even service on the equipment. If you have a preferred service vendor that's local here that you want to have service your equipment, they could do it.
So I guess I should ask this way. So there's no service agreement that comes with it when y'all install it then?
We do not put a service agreement in place. We certainly have the ability to offer that, but, we're not trying to force a service agreement on top of anyone. If you currently have partners that you work with for that, we recommend you continue to maintain that as what you're currently using. Like, I think we've talked with some of them, and they can maintain all the equipment that we are putting in the buildings. So we would recommend you maintain the current agreement you have in place with those companies, as they are certified to work on all the equipment that we are going to be putting in the building.
John, do you have anything?
Ready for me?
Go ahead. Fire away.
Technical question first. This came up to us just yesterday, 79 pages. It's going to take me time to read this, so, and I will read it. Go to page 56. You have listed out the baseline rates for each of the buildings and all. And just in a brief, quick overview, just running through pages, the Commonwealth Attorney's baseline rate is more than double any of the other buildings or whatever. What's the cause of that? Why would that be that much more?
A lot of times, that's just due to a smaller service with minimal usage, that power companies will charge more money for less usage. A lot of it can come down to the rate structure that is selected in. So the county, I believe, is kind of on a similar rate structure across all buildings, because it's a larger conglomerate. And when you have a building that uses a small amount of energy, things can get skewed because in utility bills, there are some things that are just standard no matter what. Like, you got to pay this much, and whenever you have a building that uses a little bit of KWH, it causes an influx and an inflation of what that rate
Smaller
looks
square
like.
footage makes it
Yeah.
seem more expensive.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
and like I said, all those rates are pulled from utility bills that were provided to us, by the
I know it's nothing
county.
you all did. It's just,
Mhm.
all right, that makes sense to
Yep.
me. I'm just curious about that one. And the other thing is the description of work and the payments and all that. That's on page 40. We're looking at 3.5 million. And you have the invoices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. I don't see dates when they would. Are we talking that 3.5 million is going to be roughly due in the next 6 months, year and a half? I'm trying to figure out how to finance here.
It should be 30 days after they finish the project. according to the-
So
this contract.
if you're all going to be done in 6 months, then this is going to be due in our next fiscal year, $3.4 million.
Unless you were to finance it.
Well, I know
Yeah,
we would finance it. That wouldn't be through you all, right? It'd be.
We do not own a financing
That's what I
company, as
thought.
much as that would be great. We do
So,
not.
again, I'm just pointing this out to our board, that we need to figure out how we're going to finance or pay for this or whatever. I would like to do that before, signing the dotted line, so to speak. It'd be nice to know that, so, because to meet that. And the other thing, I guess, Chrissy, when you first made presentations way back when, I seem to recall that we had talked about maybe doing some of this stuff in parts because of the financial pressure that this is on with all our other county needs and all that, do we have to do all this in the next 6 months? I know there's efficiencies with that, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we've got to balance, maybe some cost efficiencies, getting it done in 6 months versus taking 3 years to do that. And that's something else that I think the board, should consider. Some things we should do right away, and some things we may just can't afford to do. I mean, you all don't know all that other side of the story, but we do. So that's why I'm just bringing that up more for a point to the board than to you all. So don't get me wrong. Saving $1.15 million sounds good to me. And what you're proposing sounds good to me. We just got to figure out those other details on how we're going to afford this. Can we do this now? Do we need to wait 6 months? Do we need to wait a year? Do we need to not do this at all? Those are the decisions. So, that's all. If those invoices that we're looking at in the next 6 months, then I said we're going to get to discuss that later on this meeting. So.
Yeah, and there were no dates disclosed within that payment schedule, and I included that in there for you based upon last month's
Right.
inquiry. We did not leave a date in there specific because we did not want to assume a signature date that was
Understand.
incorrect.
But the general is that that's gonna be due within a very short window of time.
Part of what we want to bring to the table is efficiency all the way across
I
the
understand that.
board, including construction, and capitalizing on reducing the rates of the increased Dominion rates that are coming, basically the cost of inaction. So it helps us as much as it will help you. So that is how it is designed.
And as long as we know that information, that if we delay this, it's gonna cost us this much more, and we make that decision to make it cost us more, that's on us. And I totally accept that. Or we say, let's go forward, we'll finance it at this rate, because that makes more logical, financial sense. Because I believe, the school has already signed, am I correct?
They have.
So we talked about this a little bit last month, that just that McClure is gonna cost $2-point-something million, if I remember.
2.2.
$2.2 million. So we're adding that on top of 3.4. So you see why we need to take the time to figure this out.
Absolutely. And don't want to discourage you from considering financing. There are many lending
Oh, yeah.
institutions that are very well established with energy savings projects themselves.
And the nice thing is when you look at those guaranteed energy savings, how can that help us finance? I get that part of it too.
Absolutely. You can see where the savings
Absolutely.
is the payment for each lease payment or finance payment.
Thank you.
Yeah, following your presentation, we're gonna end up having a financial discussion, looking at all the capital projects that we have with the schools, with the county, and it's most likely that we'll probably get back together. We may even discuss having a special called meeting to meet with our financial consultants to look at all these things as a whole and determine what's the best course of action based on their recommendations on how we fund this. You know, whether it's some cash, some finance, or some portion thereof. So, no doubt it all needs to be done.
Yeah.
You know, to John's point.
To know
just-
that, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
So, and I don't, to John's point, I don't have any issue with what's being proposed. I think it's all valid and it has to be done. So we just want to do it as most economically as we can, but also what we can afford without impacting our taxpayers, so.
Understood.
Yeah, all good stuff. Ronnie, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm still driving, so I don't have the information in front of me. But to Supervisor Magruder's point, I think we're at the point where we need to really have a definitive budget schedule for this with timelines in place. And so now, since we have this hard and fast data, I think we can go ahead and do that, because it is a lot of money. It's a lot of savings to be realized from it. And we could also, I don't know how quickly all those savings may occur, but that will be an offset as well. So anyway, yeah, I agree. We need to spend more time on the budget side of it. I'm done.
Yeah, the unfortunate part with the county is we couldn't really capitalize on the solar like the schools had, so, yeah, we're just, we don't have the surface area on top to really show those, where it's actually saving us money overall, but, yeah, certainly get that. Yeah, no, it's, you know. Do you have anything, Calvin? No, I'm good. I did have one more question, now I'm drawing a blank. Oh, I know what it was. Is part of, these rates, I think the assumption was we do this in conjunction with the projects for the school. Is that still the assumption that some of those would overlap just to save some economies of scale in working?
That is a benefit and a factor that was at play. We are still in deployment at the schools, and we could move pretty quickly in terms of deploying our team, so that we could expedite things like lighting, building envelope, even some of the HVAC pieces for the circuit court. So that benefit does go to you, but we ultimately also understand the financial discussion that needs to be had.
And one of the things that I want to recommend to our board as we get into our financial discussion is to have this meeting with our financial consultants. But also if we could know what things can be worked in conjunction with the schools for that versus those that don't necessarily have to. If we're looking at picking and choosing whatever layers they may be, if there's something that works with the schools, we've already like, yeah, you guys want to do this while we're doing this for the school, you really want us doing this with the county, or else the cost is gonna be higher if it's delayed down the road. And again, we wanna do this in very short order. It's not, we don't really wanna put this off any more than we have to, so.
Ultimately, I would say, at this point, we can certainly work that up for you as you have those discussions, but when we're talking about the circuit court, ultimately, all items that revolve around the circuit court should be done in tandem, since there is
Right.
going to be some extensive work done at all times. It would be best for you to have that all done at the same time.
And scheduling for the courts and all that's gonna be a significant
Yeah.
matter as well. Okay. If Board, you don't have any other questions, then we'll keep you posted here in pretty short order.
We'll
So,
be available.
Thank you. All right. Financial projections and discussions. John, do you want to kick this off, or you want?
I'll go ahead and kick it off. Just basically just wanted at a high, very high level, not detail, that you just heard the McClure presentation. They've got the school McClure work to be done. We're talking about the maintenance building, and there are just other expenses, RCIP projects, et cetera, that we're gonna try to meet our goals and all that. I just think we need to have a financial meeting to talk about all these items and how best we are going to finance it. Are we going to use some of our reserves? Just, how are we gonna do this? And really map it out and plan it. And the reason I go back to this is that when I came on the board 10 years ago, and we were $36 million in debt, $12 million in interest payments, that's $48 million. We are down now to, if I remember correctly from Davenport, we're down to $13 million of debt, $3 million worth of interest. So we are in a very good position. Davenport just congratulated us immensely, because our county, our employees, our department heads, and our administrator have really, really knuckled down over the last 10 years to get us to this point. We should be very proud of that fact. So I don't want to dig that hole again. And this is just pure planning. And I like Chairman Akers' suggestion. Maybe we need to, have another meeting just for this, just to talk about it. I would request that we ask our administrator and staff to come up with a list of all these items and expenses that potentially, whatever they are, to come up. Not our budget. We know what our budget is. That's covered. These are those additional things that we're talking about over the last 6 months, and this additional information here. And then take the information like on page 57, which shows our net savings, how we can work that, the McClure savings, into paying for or financing, et cetera. I just think we need to have that discussion. So, and that's really what I wanted to talk about, briefly. It's nothing in depth, nothing, because I don't know all the details, and I don't know how we're gonna meet all this. I know we can. I like the challenge, and we're gonna provide the best service for this community, and we've got the best employees in the whole wide world that are gonna help us get to this point where we can do all these things, but we're gonna do it without taxing our citizens any greater than they are. So that's my point.
We have the vehicle maintenance facility. We've been discussing doing expansion of our EMS station. We have the pool that we want to look to get covered, the RA pool property, in conjunction with, the hopefully soon to come partnership with the YMCA. So we just need to kind of lay all those things out.
Poorhouse Park improvements we've talked about,
Yeah.
phase 1 and all
Yeah,
that.
We got animal shelter that we'll talk
Animal
about
shelter,
again tonight, so-
exactly.
Yeah, I
All
think
these are expenses, folks, that, I think it's all doable. I just,
we've got our current CIP
have a good-
laid
get a good
out. We just
roadmap.
need to add them all in and have Davenport probably come up with a suggestion. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we met with Davenport last time. Over the next, I want to say it was 10 years, we could potentially have up to 25 million available without having any additional costs, or any additional taxpayer costs, depending on how we laid it out. And that's gonna be the important part, is laying those out and scheduling those out in that way. And also what's feasible to do in the amount of work and time as well. So is the board amenable to trying to set something up. Obviously, we'd have to work it out with Davenport about having something before our next meeting, before our July meeting. Maybe just to talk about the finances with Davenport. And I would call it more of a work session than anything else, just to discuss options, opportunities.
I think first we're gonna have to come up with a list, because Davenport can't do anything without the
Right.
list. So, I would suggest that, staff put together a draft list of everything that they can think of, send it to us on the board, just so that we can review, and if we think of anything to either add or whatever, and then, go ahead and let Davenport give us some different, options on, would this be best if we take X amount from, reserves and then finance the rest, or heck, somebody hit the lottery and decided to pay for all this for us or whatever, I don't know. You know me, I like the extremes here. But whatever, yeah, I think that would be the way I would think the steps should be taken.
Well, there's things that we need to consider in that, like with school improvements, there's an opportunity to do the 1% add-on to meals tax to help accommodate additional, that gets dedicated specifically for schools, but that may offset some of those other costs that may be coming down the road as well, so.
And that would include also grants. We all got that memo from our federal representative that it has passed the House for our maintenance facility and the road improvements. And Chrissy had explained that there's some grants possibly available, and that's all should be factored into. Not that they're guaranteed, but we need to know. So,
April, what do you think
We
we
do
could
that?
get that done? Get the list and get with Davenport.
Start, I was thinking what we did before, have some telephone conversations with them to clarify and narrow it down, and then put together financial work session.
Okay. Board members all good with that?
is Ronnie good with that?
Ronnie, you good with that? You're our finance guy.
Yes, I'm good with that. Good idea.
All right.
Perfect.
Moving on, Rotary Poorhouse Park update. John, I'll let you kind of kick that one off.
Yeah, I'll start with that one real quickly. We had a discussion a couple months ago about whether we wanted the Recreation Committee or the EDA to kind of take the lead in this process of improvements at the Poorhouse Park, et cetera, and we said that the EDA should be the lead on that. So they have come back with some additional questions, and as we begin the next phase one of, what improvements the board would like to see done out there and all, there's some steps that needs to be taken, and a lot of this has to do with a procurement policy. The county currently has a very good procurement policy and all that, but the EDA does not, and if they take the lead in this, they have to develop a procurement policy. So, so that was one of their concerns and all that, but basically, how do we want to go forward with this as we begin this next phase, which is gonna entail, procurement of services, procurement of things, et cetera. So, would we like the EDA to issue contracts for the work, in the county's name, or would we want the EDA to handle it? How do we want to do that? So I'm gonna let April and, Max weigh in on a little bit about this. What's legal? What's not? I don't know all the answers, but that's the questions they're presenting, so.
Max, since you came in late, we'll put you on the spot. What's the advantages or disadvantages of having the EDA kind of manage those types of projects?
Well, it depends on what the ultimate ownership and control structure of the property and projects are gonna be. If the county's gonna retain control of that property, not under any sort of lease structure with the EDA, then likely it is simpler for the county to own the procurement process related to any contracts that are being let on that project. If the EDA is, holding a leasehold interest or some sort of license to manage facilities that they are constructing, and operating, then they can sort of own the procurement contracting process, and the VPPA requirements don't strictly apply to EDA facilities if the EDA is operating that. So there are just two different paths, but if the county's gonna retain control of the property and the project, it's likely easier for the county to just own that procurement process.
I know we had looked at, some years ago on a potential real estate acquisition, that it was more favorable to have the EDA own it. But just because it was less restrictive to do so, it provided more opportunities. And also, if it's and we'll just, pick the, sports complex, for example. Is that something that we as a board would want to realize the revenue and the expense for, or would that be something that we would want the EDA to utilize to be self-sufficient and to be able to help fund their own activities and continue to grow tourism and economic development and all those things? So it may be more of a, a question of what our long-term direction of the board is, for the board is what we would have. Right now, we fund the EDA, but in a perfect world, the EDA would be self-sufficient. Be able to issue bonds, have its own revenue, do more of the like facade grants, all those types of things that it currently does. But it's gotta have a mechanism in order to generate those revenues. So do we give them the opportunity to generate those revenues, and maybe there's, I'll probably use an illegal word that Max won't like, but maybe there's royalties back to the county for something that we're helping support.
No, that's, yeah, they're,
can use
lease,
royalty?
yeah, well, yeah, sure, absolutely. Lease and operating agreements would be common between an EDA and a locality that owns an underlying property. If there were to be a lease relationship, as opposed to, hey, we're conveying property to the EDA to just, create economic development opportunities.
I would also wonder too about grants. If, I don't want to say ownership, I don't think the county, I wouldn't advise the county giving up ownership of, it should stay county property. It should not be EDA ownership. The lease options is a much better, or an operating agreements are much better. But how does that work with grants? Would EDA be eligible for grants to develop recreational facilities, or is that really, these grants are more structured that, no, but counties can? I don't know, or maybe they can access grants that we even can't, I don't know. So, do you have any thoughts on that, April, or do you know? Or Max, for that matter, I don't know.
Yeah, there are grant opportunities for economic development authorities. I don't know the answer specifically to what
understand.
grants may be
I understand.
available specifically to localities. Partnering on grant applications is also an opportunity, and I know the county has realized those benefits using, whether it's with the town or with the PDCs or whatever it might be. So it is a grant specific. I don't know.
And is it possible that actually they can apply for certain grants that we can't apply for? We can apply for other grants they can't apply for, and we can leverage both of those together. I mean, that's why I'm, I don't know which is gonna be the best operating process, whether ownership, lease, operating agreements, or whatever. But that's something that we need to make a decision so we can move forward. Until we don't make those decisions, we're not gonna really be able to move forward. So I would hope we could expedite that a little bit, or else we're kind of gonna sit for a while until we do.
Yeah, I know at this point, the EDA had facilitated the procurement of TRC, is that
Right.
correct? On getting that work done. And now we're starting to move to the next phases. And, I question whether we come in at this point to facilitate those procurements as opposed to having the EDA kind of maintain that path, although, everything has to be funded, so we have to have some onus and some agreement of what we're willing to fund. And that's probably the key. I'm tickled to death that the EDA is taking the ownership and taking some of that burden off of us to do it. And so now we just have to get to that part of, what can we afford to do and when does it make sense?
The other part to that is just they would like an opinion that, as they said, hiring an engineer to kind of oversee these projects. I know when we did the radios, and hopefully Kyle will be nodding his head over here, we hired an engineer when we did the radio system here. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but I think we paid maybe $150,000, $160,000 in engineering fees and ended up with close to $500,000 or more of benefits just from their oversight. So I would strongly recommend hiring an engineering service. And again, it'll figuring out whether we do a lease, operating agreement, ownership, whatever we decide, who's gonna oversee this would be a question of that, if that's agreeable to the board to have some kind of engineer oversighting that. Any thoughts on that?
Have we locked in a date for our strategic planning session yet?
No. Mm-mm. But I think it needs more discussion, because I don't recall, and I may be wrong, but I don't recall the board adopting an actual park plan to actually implement.
I think what
It
we
was
decided,
presented, but I don't remember.
I think we accepted the general concept plan, is what
That's
I
right.
remember.
Mhm.
And TRC
There was
and Woody
multiple-
can help me if I'm speaking incorrectly on this one, but that TRC was gonna come back with a phase one proposal.
Right,
And then we have not adopted that because we have not seen that. yet.
that's right.
Okay.
So it might be a little cart before the horse to
Right.
know.
Right,
So I
but
think
just,
that
I
could-
just wanted to present it
That
to
might
start
provide more
thinking
clarity.
that that's one of the issues that will be needed to be decided on if we, A, think hiring an engineer to oversee would be our recommendation. Now, if we're handling it, we make that decision, but if we hand that to EDA, then we might want to suggest that or require that as an operating agreement or a lease or whatever. So I just
Yeah.
bring
I-
that up to you all.
I agree. Yeah, if you know what that phase one is, then you can work with council and the EDA to find out, do you want to lease, retain the ownership of the property? What's the timeline to deliver the project, when they'll recoup investment? And we'll talk about that.
And I'll say, certainly, as far as like a owner's consultant, an owner's engineer, that can be retained on behalf of both an owner and a lessor. So the EDA and the county can cooperatively procure
Do it
that
together.
service and contract for
I
that
didn't know.
service. That person sort of has two, two bosses, two masters, but that allows for all the interested parties to be working with the same consultant.
And with that, we may have more opportunities for planning grants and other things that can work in and potentially cover that, so.
So I guess circling back to the very beginning, then, do the board need to decide, do we need to be presented options on, going forward to, whether the EDA is gonna handle and issue contracts, are we gonna handle that? Do we want to enter into a lease agreement with the EDA? Do we want to just do operating agreements? To Chairman Akers' point about, travel industry and tournaments that we've talked about, if we do baseball fields and that kind of stuff, so I just don't want to finish this conversation without having a defined plan of this is going to be our next step.
Yeah, I personally like the idea of a lease agreement with the EDA, but would really like to see that phase one plan to make sure, one, we agree with that phase, and then at that point, kind of create whatever that lease or operating agreement is that's mutually beneficial for the EDA and the county.
So what I'm hearing is, once we receive the phase one plan, then we'll take the next step of operating agreements or leases so that we can start moving forward. Okay, because I know there's going to be some preliminary work that needs to be done even before phase one. Like, for instance, they're going to have to do studies out there on, are there any sites that aren't, permitted? Like, is there a graveyard out there or something? We can't put a ball field there or something like that. So those kinds of studies you're going to have to do even before you build the first thing. So, so the question is, do we want to go ahead and start that, or do we want to wait till we see this plan and go from there? Sounds like we'll wait for the plan and go from there.
I'd like to see
Okay.
a phase so we know kind of where we're starting with anyway, and then kind of
If that's the pleasure of the board, I'm fine.
But
I just want to make sure we have a roadmap plan, and that sounds good to me.
I do
so.
like the idea of an owner engineer though, because I think
Okay. Good.
that's smart to do, to have that
I do too.
common group that kind of sticks with that the whole way out. And, and maybe once we get that phase one plan, that's the next step, is to hire that owner engineer to start working out all those other details to see what's feasible and what's not. And it will tie in nicely as we look at, this financial discussion that we're gonna have at Davenport, what monies do we have by when to do what? So that's gonna play a factor in that too, so.
And I know our esteemed supervisor, Mr. Gill, also is very passionate about this as well. Does he have any comments on my thoughts?
Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
I should be there in the next 30 minutes or so, but, yeah, they're all good discussion. I don't want to overcomplicate this. The composition of the EDA and the composition of the board will change before Poorhouse ever gets finished. So I think control has to be at the Board of Supervisors level, and whether or not our connection with EDA is through a lease agreement, whatever, that's fine. But I think that distinction has got to be present at all times here. We have a very active EDA right now, but we have seen times when it wasn't very active. So the board, our board by definition is going to always be there, and that's why we have to maintain that control. And that's at a very high level. I understand that, and after we see phase one, I think we can get more into the weeds on it.
Agree.
That's fine. Okay.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you all.
All right, moving on from that, I'll let Joe take the lead on an animal shelter discussion.
Okay. I've been, speaking with Sheriff Holmes in, April. We're talking about, what this all stemmed from is, on July the 8th, 2024, the town council sent a notice to the county that they need to vacate the actual animal shelter, which is on Airport Road. This need to be done within 36 months. The deadline will be coming up on July 8th, 2027. So my suggestion is that we start now and start looking to move this thing and make this project go ahead and get one erected, because of, according to Virginia Code 3.2 TAC 6546 of the Comprehensive Animal Care Act, it's mandated that each county or city has an animal shelter, and that's just to house the dogs that's running loose and everything. And what I would like to, what we discussing about is putting it up at what's called Poorhouse, because the county already owns that piece of property. We can go in and I would suggest we go in and take a piece of that property in the back somewhere, and we can add, construct this animal shelter. Also, within the animal shelter, add in a vet hospital, a vet office, so we can get a traveling vet, or maybe we can lure, maybe a veterinarian to come and work for us in the county. And also would like to, probably, because Sheriff Holmes would like to have a canine training facility for the future, could put that out there. And I even talked about even adding the dog park to that, because you have all the dogs in the same area. But however, everybody, we know that the park is gonna go there, but we'll pull this partial land away from it. But also, I'm gonna let April and Sheriff Holmes give you a little more, because they've been doing a lot of work on this, doing most of the legwork, so they can explain to you what we're looking at.
Do you mean on the land request,
Yeah.
or?
Both, everything, and what you're doing.
Sure, so what the
the
sheriff
next-
and I are partnering on, which has been long in development, is just to address the structure and model of how
Right.
the shelter is managed. So there's two components. Right now, ours coexist. So you have shelter management and animal control and enforcement are all done by county staff. And then when there's an issue that arises, you have to dispatch a sheriff out to assist.
Right.
So we've been in talks and in interviews with certain candidates to see if we could divide that, which models neighboring localities where shelter management falls on like civilian staff. And the animal control and enforcement piece would be done through the sheriff's office with deputy sheriffs that are ACO trained. So that's what we've spent most of our time talking about. We are supportive of, you know, relocating it to the park, if that's the pleasure of the board. We would certainly need to get started on that sooner than later if that is the direction that the board provides us. We do have some monies available that we could start looking into that with some of our donations from our citizens. But that's really where we're at right now.
And I'm just suggesting that we get started as soon as possible, because
Right.
this, even though we got 13 months, those 13 months will be here before you move. before you
Yeah,
know
I
it. So-
agree, so.
So, and that's what I have, so.
Yeah, and I know there's discussions with, you know, or considerations for, you know, things that can be done. There's partnerships with other localities.
There are.
As an option. We could build something on our own and kind of house that and still partner with other localities. So there's
That's right.
numerous things that we could do with that. Certainly, to Joe's point, you know, we own the Poorhouse Park track as it stands. We don't need to purchase new land for anything.
That's right.
The definitive that we know is that we've been notified by a signed copy that we have to vacate by a certain period of time, and we have not gotten anything since then that says otherwise. So
Right.
that has to be our deadline that we're working toward one way or the other.
And it was just by letter. There was no conversations or any, you know, inklings that that was coming down the pike, so.
So, yeah, I'm in favor of certainly, you know, moving that forward. Again, to April's point, you know, we do have funds that, if that's the direction that we end up going, you know, we can utilize some of that to maybe start doing some of that engineering work, some of that planning work. We can
Yeah.
have those, we can direct kind of our county administrator to reach out to neighboring localities that may be interested and has additional information on those. Arnie, do you have something?
Mr. Chairman, April and I had talked about this probably about 6 months now, 8 months.
Easily.
To make this thing run smoothly, we know, John, we know it's gonna cost money. So, but
Another gray hair, Arnie,
Oh,
another
I
gray hair
know.
on me, buddy.
you can have gray hair or no hair like me, one of them. But to make this thing run smoothly, April and I had talked about the employment of having, after hearing Penny said, if you remember her in a couple board meetings said, we haven't collected anything for dog tags or anything. And the reason is because we don't have anybody to go out in the county to do it. And my position is to get real ACO officers. I send them to my academy, and they are trained through my academy, and have one station at the animal shelter and one out on the street. Now, that helps in both ways, help me in both ways, because now I got an extra person on the street that's trained that I can call if we have something going on. It's gonna take 2 ACOs plus what they have out there now. I just gotta make the decision who I'm gonna keep out there, okay? Because you know, all you know, the problems that we've been having at the animal shelter. So April and I are going in partnerships. I think past sheriff and everybody else didn't want anything to do with the animal shelter. I don't have that problem because it's gonna help the county. And, but I have to get you guys permission, because I'm gonna have to hire 2 people, and put them in place. And I know April said we have money to do that, but, I'm gonna submit a letter to you guys and letting you know that this is what we need to get this thing going and to get the heat off of you guys. Put it on me, I don't care, all right? I got a lot of ice I can set on, but, it's gonna take a little bit to get it started, and like Supervisor Hendry said, we need to start now. I need to get these guys trained and ready to go, and put them in this shelter so we can get things going. So when we do put the new one up, it can be a smooth transition, and we can go. Okay. All right. Thank y'all for listening to me. All right?
Sheriff Holmes, question for you real quick. Is there, if we do this with an ACO, is there additional comp board funding that may be available to
I
help
can,
offset some of the costs?
I can check in that.
That'd be great to know.
Matter of fact, I believe it is, because I think they do fall by. I'll have that answer for you, and email it to you, okay?
That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you.
I think you can. I think we had Brian Seal look into that
Yeah, you
for
get
us
grant,
already.
'cause I think we can get some grant funding somewhere too, down the line.
Music to my ears there.
I love you, John.
You too, buddy. Another thing I was thinking about is, if we, think about that old movie, You Build It, They Will Come. Maybe we build this veterinarian, office, facility. We might attract the veterinarian here. We can have one in the county, because we don't have one. And if you own a dog, you know the problem it is to get somebody to give a dog a shot now, because every veterinarian says, we full. So,
Yeah, we've included that discussion in our meetings as well, starting out with maybe a traveling vet or intern. We could co-op, but we've got lots of ideas. We just need to know where we're gonna land,
but we need to land. That's what I'm saying. We need to get this good.
where we're gonna
Let's
start it.
decide, and we can let April and the sheriff do their thing, pick out what they want, and we can go from there.
So we got kind of two parallel paths that are running. One is the operational management
That's right.
Right,
of a shelter, two is the physical location.
right,
And we need to be working both of them simultaneously.
right.
Yes, and, I have been, notified by different counties that we can go look at their shelters. Northumberland County is one. The county that they told me not to look at is King William, because they have a Taj Mahal up there. And that's gonna cost a lot of money. Sheriff Lee down, Bailey from down New Kent, they're just the reason they built one, so at some point, prefer Mondays, because Rob is off on Mondays. We need to get together and go look at some shelters and get some ideas and ask some questions about it.
Do we get a ride in the police car too?
Yes,
All right.
Sheriff's
Can
vehicle.
I work the lights? I just want to know if I can work the lights.
yes.
I'll go if I can ride up front, but I ain't riding the back.
Well, if you ride in mine, I'll put you in the tail end, okay? But we do need to go and look and start, like, we don't have but 13 months or whatever. We gotta get it going. We don't wanna wait till the last minute, all right?
Yeah, I'd be open to looking at some dates that we could get together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even if we have to kind of divide and conquer a little bit, I'm okay with that too.
I got jail vans, I can put you in jail van, but,
Get some hard shoots for us as well. Fit the part.
These guys probably done been in one of them.
yeah. But anyway, I'm open Mondays and not really open, but I can make it be open. I can open, but Fridays I'm real available, but Mondays through Thursdays, I'm swamped just like you guys are, but we can make it work, okay? April just had to let me know what day, so I can call around and let them know we're coming. Northumberland, New Kent,
New Kent, I know was on the list.
I talked to, over Henrico, but they top of the line, but we need to get started on it. And, I need to get the guys in school, to become real ACOs and,
That's right.
yeah.
And so to follow up on one of your earlier comments with, and what you were saying about shelter management and, enforcement, when we go into this new phase of partnership, the shelter management will start with a deputy sheriff ACO in order to assess what's existing, what needs to be done to establish the SOPs that the other staff will follow. You'll see in the reports, we've bought the Edmonds module to go on to animal licensing to be through Edmonds for transparency and availability to access records and fees and things like that. So, it's gonna be good when we get it going. We just wanna know where it's gonna go.
And
What's
the
the length of
good,
that school?
the good news is, the guy that April and I interviewed is already certified.
That's right.
So we don't have to send him to school, but have to give him a partner. So he's already certified and he can do everything. He euthanize, I know people don't like to hear that word, but by code, sometimes you have to do it. So he's already certified. We're just working on a couple of things with him,
What more so
Okay.
shows is training and assessment of the animals, which is good, yeah.
all right?
So, how long is that school?
If I'm saying to the whole school, it's 20 weeks,
20 weeks, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, we need to do that, by the time he
Yeah.
come back, we can be finished with it, he can go to work.
All right,
Yeah, let's get some dates together and I mean,
yes, sir.
as many board members can go. Again, that's something that we don't have to worry about you're violating in a group setting
right.
because we're not making decisions, we're just going to evaluate and assess, so.
Okay.
I'd say whoever can go to it. Don't hold it to Mondays if that doesn't work out. I can,
No.
mornings are preferred rather than middle of the day, so if we do mornings, that's.
Well, I'm a morning person too. I don't know about Sheriff Lee down there, you can't, but I'm a morning person. But, okay, we'll get some dates
We'll
together.
get some days for you.
Soon, within the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, 'cause I gotta check my own CD that we got.
And I guess, I know, Ronnie, you're on the line, and I know part of the planning for the EDA's kind of master plan for the Courthouse Park track had that, phased in for the animal shelter. And that may be something just for the EDA, that we may need to carve that out sooner rather than later. That may be just because of the urgency and the need, that has to be the first part of this.
Yes.
So that may be the prequel to phase one, is to
We don't-
survey that out and block that off to where that
So
needs to be.
you don't even have to include it in park, but
Yeah, if you, I mean, you could, I guess technically, just, you could,
actually, that'll
you
help.
could break that part out, right? I mean, assuming we could just do that and just do
Is that
a
legal?
boundary line adjustment and.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it legal? Okay. 'Cause
Is it advantageous, Max, to do that if we're gonna have an animal shelter? Does it make sense, or maybe it doesn't matter whether you have one continuous piece, or should we, if we're operating an animal shelter and potentially a vet's office, should we kind of cut that portion out that we're gonna use for that facility?
Thought about it being all self-contained in one building.
Self-contained.
yeah, build
Right.
it.
Vet services.
Right. I think you can accomplish it in either way, to the extent it is going to be a distinct use controlled separately, and there may be a lease for other areas. It's
Okay.
probably easiest for there to be a distinct parcel for that animal shelter.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, and I don't know if law allows this, but I think it does. I don't think it prohibits if we as a county wanted to contract with a private organization to manage an animal shelter or animal facility.
Correct.
Because it may be, if you get a vet in, maybe the vet says, hey, I wanna manage this whole facility, and it gets, so I'm just,
The-
you know, thinking about future options.
The law says is you can meet that mandate by using SPCA. So, or some other.
I'm thinking
entities like that.
Humane Society
Yeah,
might be
same-
another that
same
has
thing.
other opportunities for
Yeah,
grants
any-
and
any
additional
spot
fundraising.
outside like that, yeah.
So I think separating that parcel out to be able to offer that to somebody may be beneficial, or it could be a simple $1 lease agreement.
And not only that.
That's right.
If you really think about it, we separate that parcel out, it helps with the final draw of of Poorhouse Park. Because now you know, okay, we gotta go around this one, we can't go here, it gives a boundary of where the park can go, and what things you can do.
And we may wanna do that with VIPSA too.
Yeah.
We talked about
Right.
changing where the transfer station is, so we may need to look at that and, come up with some ideas for how that's gonna go.
Woody got a question?
Woody?
I just want to mention that in this next report that we're anticipating from TRC, much of this initial work will be looking at the footprints of the animal shelter, moving the convenience center, and looking at things like stormwater. So it really doesn't matter who owns it at this point, as far as that kind of thing. What's important is how much impervious surface are we creating? What's the effect of stormwater? Same thing with impervious surface and stormwater related to the convenience center. So I think where we're headed, they know that TRC knows that the animal shelter is a critical issue. We've let them know that. So anyway, just want you to know that at this point, I'm expecting any day that plan that says, here's a footprint for these things, then they need to go survey and see what the stormwater issues will be and begin planning for water and septic. So I just want to make sure I kept that clear.
Thank you, Woody.
Yes, sir.
Vice Chair Gill, did you have anything else you wanted to add to the discussion?
The only thing I would add is, and I think it's been emphasized, is that the urgent need for this is now, this should be our #1 priority, in my opinion. Because 13 months is not very long.
Right,
And I'll be there in about 5 minutes.
okay.
Do we want to wait to go to closed session for him?
Yeah, I
to
think we
come?
can wait. What we'll do is we'll take a, we could take a, well, we could just, yeah. No, he gets no break. He's gotta hold it. But we can go ahead and read our compliance certification and then, and take a break before we go into closed session. So if somebody wants to read that.
I move it,
M-
go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I would just recommend that maybe we recess, if you're gonna wait for Supervisor Gill, recess for 5 minutes while he's here in open meeting, and then the record can reflect him going into closed
There you
meeting.
go. Okay, I'll do, well, I'll recommend that we go ahead and recess for 8 minutes. I'll give him a little bit of extra time.
I want 9.
8 minutes and 30 seconds. I like to compromise. I like to
Okay.
compromise. So we'll recess for 8 minutes and then we'll, look to go into closed session, so. We need a motion for that? All right. I get to call that on my own? All right, can I get somebody to read us our compliance certification? Please read us into closed session.
I move that the Essex County Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting pursuant to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711A1 for discussion, assignment, and appointment of appointees to the Planning Commission.
Have a
Second.
Second. Moving second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we're in closed session. Get a motion to reconvene in open session?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We've got to finish our meeting then. We got you, Kay.
I took
All
care
right.
of it.
Can somebody read the, April, do roll call, please?
Chairman Akers.
Present?
Vice Chairman Gill.
Present.
Supervisor Hale.
Present.
Supervisor Henry.
Here.
Supervisor Magruder.
Present.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Somebody read the compliance certification, please?
Whereas the Essex County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to the affirmation recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, there be it resolved that the board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements of Virginia law were discussed in closed session to which this certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the board.
Any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of clauses 1 and 2 shall state the substance of the departure that, in his judgment, has taken place. Hearing none. April, will you certify the board, please?
Chairman Akers.
I certify.
Vice Chairman Gill.
I certify.
Supervisor Hale.
I certify.
Supervisor Henry.
I certify.
Supervisor Magruder.
I certify.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moving probably second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. We'll reconvene at 7 o'clock. Sorry, Kay. It's all yours now.
Can't start earlier?